I'm talking with the Chief Minister about this new leaflet coming out, securing a sustainable future for our island. There has been one before, I think, but this is a new updated version.
Yes, the Agenda for Change document is one we started right at the outset of this administration, and we've updated it as developments take place. This is the latest development and enlargement of the priorities, really bearing in mind that we have only 12 months left now till the general election. This is resetting our priorities for the next 12 months, because it really is important to understand that although the election's on the horizon, work must continue in government right up to the election day. We have too many serious issues still facing the Isle of Man to freewheel now down to election.
Isn't one of the serious issues you've got to deal with is the UK government with a budget that sounded like it was an offshore budget in the sense of
absolutely.
Corporation tax coming down? Who could believe these words coming out?
If you look back, I've been warning about this now for the last 2 or 3 years, that the UK is increasingly becoming a serious competitor for the Isle of Man, not just in economic growth, but in taxation structures and in shifting away a lot of the red tape, which in many ways we've been able to benefit from in the end over the last few years. The centrepiece of the document, though, that we've produced this week will be a raising of the priority of economic growth in the island to respond to the challenges that we are meeting in the UK. If you look at the other side to Ireland, Irish economy, after several years of real problems, is now powering ahead. It's the most powerful growth figures, I think, in Europe at the moment. We have competitors on both sides of the Irish Sea, and we absolutely have to shake off the complacency, which I believe is holding back the island at the moment, and get refocused back on economic growth.
You say that, but at the end of the day, you've got to find these areas that the UK overall doesn't seem to want to take it all for themselves. This is getting tricky, isn't it?
It is. I mean, we've been fortunate over the last certainly 20 years that many of the small niche opportunities that we've been able to carve out for the Isle of Man were largely areas that the UK themselves deemed to be too small to be bothered with.
Every time they had a budget and they said they're putting up this tax or that tax, there was always a smile to your face, because you knew that you had potential to go in there and get more business, correct?
It certainly helped, but we need to recognise, and I have to say first of all that the proposals we will be presenting next week as part of this package have not actually been generated directly as a result of the budget this week. We've been working on these for quite some time.
It hasn't moved you at all then from what you heard there? Or was
not
it too late?
Well, it's not changed things, but it's actually underlined the absolute urgency to move on this. But as I say, I've been warning for a long time that these threats are coming. You need to recognise that Mr Osborne's budget this week is only the first of 5 now, which are going to be more aggressively and quite clearly conservative budgets. They've been held back over the last few years by being in coalition. Now Mr Osborne can give free rein to conservative aspirations, which are going to be for a far more competitive economy than we've had to face for a great many years.
The Crown dependencies didn't get a mention as such, although there's going to be more money put into tax and getting it. But
for the first time, the Crown dependencies and offshore generally didn't, as far as I know, come into his speech. But there will be a number of actions that they've taken which will have impact on certain amounts of business.
It's like the Vickers report and all those sort of things in the past that have caused
the changes in relation to property in the UK, the changes in relation to non-DOMs and various others will have an impact to a greater or lesser extent on the Manx economy. And we need to take steps now to counter that.
You're not going to give me any of the big headline stuff, but I gather it almost looks like you're excited. Would I say, is that too big a word, that you've got, this is going to be a bit of a game changer, or is it some radical thinking, or something that is going to catch the attention of the world's financial press?
I hope it will make a very clear, very strong statement to our business community, to the population at large, that the Isle of Man government is absolutely committed to growing the economy. We are absolutely committed to creating more jobs, and that is going to be something very much at the forefront of our thinking in the future. We have got to grow the population, the working age population, for the future, both for the economy, but also to be able to maintain pensions and the welfare state for the future.
But as you said at the beginning, you've only got this year to do it. Will you? Do you see yourself putting in legislation or saying we're going to invite these people in to work here? Will that all be doable as the clock ticks down?
We absolutely have to put all our efforts behind this now, and that's not to say we haven't been growing the economy. We're still growing in a healthy way, but we have to reinvigorate our approach to that now. This drive, all the items in this document are for a much longer term, not just for 12 months, but it does give a direction of travel for the next period, and growing the economy is absolutely central to what we've got to do.
Radical thinking is not necessarily the thing that goes easiest through. I mean, I'm just thinking the promenade is still, because it's going to be a radical change, it's sort of getting more attention all the time. People are looking to their voters, as we keep saying. There's that sort of thing that's coming in. How do you keep fixed on the end goal?
Well, the best way to look after the electorate on the island, I have to say, is not populist sound bites. It's properly thought through, long-term strategic solutions to some of the very serious structural problems facing the Isle of Man. Growing the economy, protecting the economy, creating jobs, generating new revenues through the economy has to be the best way forward, and indeed the only way forward of generating genuine new revenues for the future, to guarantee our young people a future on the island by giving them jobs, and also to grow the working age population substantially to be able to protect pensions for our elderly for the future.
Because there again, the UK is giving people all this extra money now before they start paying tax. We are now seem to be on the back foot on this one, which is crazy a couple of years ago, because it was like completely opposite.
Yes, it certainly turned things around. I mean, traditionally, for almost as far as I can remember, the Isle of Man has been ahead of the UK in most of these areas. But as you rightly say, the radical changes which Mr. Osborne in particular is committed to is starting to be a game changer in that relationship, and we have to up our game as a response to that.
I'd love to be inside Coleman watching you and Eddie T and the rest of them all now working your strategies out, because that will have to have a response come next budget here, right?
Absolutely. We have to take time to actually look at the small print of a UK budget first. I would caution that often there are stings in the tail of UK
giving
budgets.
with one hand and taking back.
Absolutely. We need to know exactly what the whole picture is. But revitalising the economy, as you know, I've been banging on about this now for quite a long time. We mustn't lose sight of the absolute urgency to grow the economy still further. And that now has to be the centrepiece of where we're going.
So, as they say in the advert, is the future bright? The future, well, not orange, but is it a three legs future there? Good man's future?
The future generally is bright, but it's challenging. And it's most important that we recognise what those challenges are, that we put to one side the complacency which we've enjoyed over the last few years. After all, this is the 31st year of unbroken economic growth. Very few people on the island can actually remember when there was a recession, when there was a genuine downturn. So we must put all that to one side and look now. It's not what we did yesterday, it's what we do over the next few years that is going to be important.
How are you going to protect the young, the people at the bottom of the pay scales, the ones that haven't got that luxury now in the UK about to get of quite a big minimum wage?
Well, we are looking at various options at the moment. As you know, Mr. Tier has started proposals through Treasury on looking at increasing personal allowances by streamlining the personal taxation structure. Quite what shape that will take yet, it's too early to say.
You got wiggle room here?
Well, we have options. We always have options, but it's just a matter of saying which is the best way forward. But ultimately, I come back to the fact, unless we grow the economy, unless we can generate new streams of revenue to put into Treasury to help to sustain not just public services, but also provide financial support for the vulnerable, for the low income on the island, then we are going to struggle.
Okay, well, so watch out. This is the document, and it'll be Tuesday, July 21st, I think.
That's right.
So that's the day when we shall be listening and watching with interest what happens.
I hope so.